Welcome to That Business Show 2.0 with your host, Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. New episodes each weekday morning, 9 a.m. at thatbusinessnetwork.com via our video stream. And also you'll find us on iTunes and on YouTube. Today we're talking with Melvin Marsh. He is a certified hypnotherapist, and you can learn more at afterhourshypnotherapy.com. So it's all about hypnotherapy on today's program. So Melvin, welcome to the program today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your background. A certified hypnotherapist. I know some people can come in and out of this industry with less than stellar accreditation, but tell me a little bit about your background and what some other people are doing too.
Well, first let's discuss what a lot of other people are doing and how my background is different. There are a lot of very, very sketchy basically fly-by-night type type classes, that are, you show up for a weekend and you learn a few things and then they label you as a certified hypnotherapist. That's nice. There are other people that do it in a week. That's nice. That you're still not, you're still barely covering anything. Mm-hmm. I went to Hypnosis Motivation Institute College of Hypnotherapy. I have my basically college diploma, an honors college diploma, in basically hypnotherapy, where I had to do 300 lecture/clock hours before I hit master hypnotist. Then an additional 200-hour internship before I got accredited or got certified by the Hypnotherapists Union, which is the highest and most prestigious, most strict certifying agency in the United States. So I already came out with basically 500 hours of work behind me.
Okay, so people need to pay attention to the the credentials of people that are claiming to be hypnotherapists. Something that I wasn't aware of. I've had hypnotherapists on my show before, but they've never gotten into the accreditation process of it. Hypnotherapy in general. Describe what this practice is. What is hypnotherapy?
Hypnotherapy has been around for several thousand years. It is basically the experience of taking somebody, putting them in a nice altered state. They feel very, very relaxed, very, very comfortable, and trying to work on whichever issue they happen to come to you with. For example, one of my most common requests is actually stress management. So they come in, they sit on my recliner or virtual. Actually, I am able to do Skype and Zoom. Have them sit in their recliner at home, and I talk a little bit about what basically brings them in, and they sit down in their recliner, they get themselves very comfortable, and then I start doing an induction, and I start relaxing them, and once they get fairly relaxed, I start putting in other suggestions. For example, people with social anxiety. I've already kind of relaxed them with the induction, but now that if I know they're having social anxiety, I might take them and future pace a situation where they're going to have to go and hang out with, 20, 30, 40 people. They're going to a party or something. And as they start to future pace this, they become more, I try to relax them and make sure that, the induction that I used, I actually am reinforcing this induction, because the induction is what's called a progressive relaxation. That's my personal favorite induction. I do that with all my anxiety people, and I start teaching them how to do it on their own. And to the point where, okay, now you're about to see a stressful situation. Well, you can also picture that ball going through your body, and every time that you start to feel a little stress, that ball appears, relaxing you. Mm-hmm. And eventually this does work to reduce somebody's anxiety. When very first time I ever was hypnotized by a quote professional, as in somebody who actually got properly trained. I was going in for anxiety. Anxiety. I had horrible, assault that just occurred to me, and I had very severe post-traumatic stress, very, very severe, and I worked with this hypnotherapist, and you started to see just a little bit of relaxation. That day I felt a little bit better. But by the next time I saw him, I felt even more better. And let's just say I no longer have an anxiety problem. My post-traumatic stress has gone into almost complete remission.
How long did it take you in terms of treatments to get cured or at least recovered to where you are today?
Well, it really, he was working on multiple things all at the same time. Mm-hmm. But as far as the actual anxiety situation, and we never use the word cured in hypnotherapy. We just can't do that. But we do say that the symptoms reduced within the first time basically right after my first session.
Very nice.
They reduced even more the next session. By the time I was done, done with this guy, and technically speaking, I'm not even still done with him, because now he actually is helping me with my own hypnotherapy business. He fixed several old problems that had been sitting there for years. I mean, you're talking about one of the issues had been sitting there for 30 years, over 30 years. And he was like, okay, I'm tired of this issue. Let's knock this out. And we're knocking it out today. And he knocked it out, in that session. And that was a very, very severe phobia that I had.
That's interesting that you say that you suffered from anxiety, because I myself suffered from anxiety attacks in my early 20s. And while I didn't see a hypnotherapist, I did come across an older lady who took me kind of under her wings, and I confided in her with some of the problems that I was having. And she would kind of use probably some type of, hypnotherapy techniques, although she wasn't a hypnotherapist, but putting me into a relaxation mode, getting me to say things over and over again. And those began to ease those anxiety related symptoms. And to this day, I'm pretty much anxiety free. I have, an issue here and there, but I think that's probably along the same lines as what you're doing with hypnotherapy. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely correct. Some of the techniques actually will involve you repeating yourself, having the other person repeat what you're saying, constantly while you are basically trying to get out whatever you're trying to work on. That was one of the techniques that we used for that annoying phobia that had been sitting there. And I tell you that if I had not trusted that man, there is no way I would have let anybody else do that to me.
Wow, incredible. And so up until that point, were you weren't in the field of hypnotherapy then? You discovered hypnotherapy as a patient then, am I getting that right?
You're close. The very first time it ever had been suggested to me was by a different therapist. And I said, no, there's no way. And I left, and after a few months, when I said, I'm so desperate on anxiety, I need to learn something. I at least took a class that was designed for people who who just wanted to learn a little bit. And I certainly wasn't a hypnotherapist then. I did take that class, and I said, well, maybe this really can help me. It basically knocked out my fears. And I went and I contacted a hypnotherapist that looked like it was going to work. And right around that time, I said I wanted to take another class. I did take another class. But I still wasn't a hypnotist by any stretch of the imagination. But I did meet my hypnotherapist right as I was beginning to at least be curious about the subject. So he was there basically at the beginning. I think I did my first successful induction a few days after I met him, and it was completely by accident. I was basically mimicking somebody else.
Now, you've treated anxiety successfully. What about other afflictions such as pain management? And I bring that up because I had a discussion this week with somebody who, treats people, in pain management, and you talk about, exercise and pills and alternative therapies, but we don't talk about hypnotherapy. Can hypnotherapy be a relief for people suffering from pain?
That's actually one of my areas that I like to work on the most. If we ever want to look at simply the history of modern hypnotherapy, Milton Erickson, who is by far one of the greatest hypnotherapists ever, he suffered from chronic pain. He'd spend up to 8 hours a day doing self-hypnosis just so he could work. I've gone through a root canal just using hypnotherapy. I didn't know at the time what I was doing, but I did enter trance state. Apparently I was a natural hypnotist, and I had no medication when I was doing a root canal.
That's incredible right there. Did you intend for that to be that way? You just didn't want to take the medicine?
I wanted the medicine.
Right.
The doctor had issues with me for other reasons. Let's put this out there. I'm a female to male transsexual. I live in the South. I'm not going to get pain medication. They're going to let me suffer.
Wow.
I'm not joking. Seriously. And that was a situation with a dentist. I had to have a root canal. I wasn't allowed to have pain meds. I didn't know that until right before. And then all of a sudden I said, I already know how to turn off parts of my body. I learned biofeedback. I gave birth to my daughter without medication. Oh, can I shut off the area that he's working on? And I just completely kind of freaked out for a second. But I went through and I found the area, and it just went whoop.
How long did it take you to get into that state? I mean, were you kind of pressured? Like, oh, shoot, I got to do this right now.
I was feeling pressured. And I got in, and I basically, in order to get through, and basically I checked each nerve until it hit the correct one.
Right.
I had basically less than 5 minutes before I found from the time that I found out I was not getting medication to the time that he had to work.
And you got yourself into that state. So
for me to freak out enough to go, oh my God, what do I do? To go, okay, this is what I can do. And then trying to check each individual nerve before I found the thing. I said, okay, I think we got it. And then when he applied pressure, I was like, yep, I think so. Let's turn it off the rest of the way.
That's an incredible story right
thought
there.
I was asleep because I wasn't moving. I was not moving because I had thrown myself purposely into a state where I was not going to react. Because if I had, I probably would have slugged him.
Hold that point right there. I got to take a break. Currently talking to Melvin Marsh, a certified hypnotherapist. Can help you with anxiety, pain, and a lot of other things too that maybe traditional medicine cannot help you with. Visit him at afterhourshypnotherapy.com. Coming back from a break, I want to talk a little bit with him about past life regression. I had a little bit of an experience with that. He's certified in that field as well. So we'll touch on that area of hypnotherapy when we come back from the break. On that.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring-type products, hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
Welcome back to That Business Show 2.0 with your host, Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Today we're talking about hypnotherapy with our certified hypnotherapist, Melvin Marsh. Learn more at afterhourshypnotherapy.com. Melvin, you're a certified past life regression hypnotherapist as well. Correct me if I use those words wrong.
Yeah,
But
past life therapist.
Past life therapist. Sorry, you're a past life therapist.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I interviewed a person on my program a couple of years ago, and I'm intrigued by that topic. And I went into her office and went through a session, but I just couldn't get into that zone. And so for me, it was a failed session. But take me through past life regression and what it is and how real is this, and also how easy or not easy is it to put all people into that trance state?
Well, let's start at the beginning. How easy or hard is it to put everybody into a trance? Everybody does go into a trance. It's a perfectly natural state. If you've ever experienced highway hypnosis, you've been in a trance. Have you ever been caught in a good book or a movie or something, and you didn't hear your spouse calling you? Mm-hmm. Guess what? You were in a trance.
Isn't that the same as being focused, though? Like I was focused?
It's a state of basically, you both have intense focus and intense relaxation. Okay. It's very similar also to that time right before you fall asleep. That's a trance state as well. You're just hopefully not in it very long before you go to sleep. So it is a completely natural state. Everybody can do it. Now, the thing is that not all hypnotherapists are trained equally. They're not all particular. Some are very, very questionable, and a lot of it depends on training. Now, if you're a good hypnotherapist, you will have basically a 100% induction rate. Now, some people might go out in 30 seconds. Some people might go in several minutes. But there are a lot of ways to actually tell if somebody's in a trance or not. I tend to watch their eyes. If they go in one direction, they're in a medium state of trance. If they do another thing, they're in a deeper state of trance. So that's what I do. Past life regression. Now, do we know if it's real or not? I'm not. If y'all can prove that it's real, that's great. I don't really care because it's not my thing. I do it. I like it. It's a lot of fun for me to listen to somebody else tell the story for a change. But, I just sit there and quietly ask questions. It's somebody telling me a story. It doesn't matter if it's real or not.
Do you think it's just people are invoking just some subconscious thoughts and putting them together in a story? And do everybody that goes through like a regression therapy with you, do they all come out with some type of story? I wasn't able to get hardly anything because I don't know, maybe it's just my mind. I have a problem with overthinking and rapid thought. I just can't ever get my mind to shut up. So that's my problem.
I mean, that's a fault of your hypnotherapist, because your hypnotherapist needed to give you time to learn to calm down your mind. I think you said it was a she. Was it a she? Mm-hmm. Okay. She needed to train you to start to calm your mind and don't progress past a certain point in the therapy, or whatever you would like to call it, until she got you relaxed and quiet. Basically, the only person I have not had come out with some form of story was this person who actually had some issues with visualizing themselves. They could visualize everybody else but themselves. But she really, really enjoyed the fact that she was basically like dancing in a whole bunch of colors, which in all fairness, she was an artist. So, maybe that was the closest thing to a past life regression was we were going to have with her. But, it worked and she enjoyed the experience. Now, can I prove that past lives are real? I cannot prove that past lives are real. It doesn't matter. I work with a lot of Buddhists and Wiccans to whom this is part of their religious tradition. Reincarnation's a thing. Who am I to judge what their religion states is acceptable or not?
Definitely a fascinating topic, and something that I spend a lot of time just thinking about, and sometimes I'll delve into some of my thoughts on this program. But the power of the mind and what's out there is just something I'm very, very fascinated with. And hypnotherapy is just one of those tools that kind of help us get in touch with that connectivity that exists in this universe on a level that we don't always fully understand. But it can be used for so much good. Like you said, it's treated your anxiety. You've seen it help people with pain. What are some of the other uses of hypnotherapy that it can be used for?
Oh my, the uses. We already know I've already mentioned the anxiety and the post-traumatic stress. I've already mentioned the pain. Stop smoking is one of the main things that people come to see us for. Weight loss. I don't really tend to see a lot of weight loss people, but I do have them. Increased confidence, motivation. I mean, I have a huge list of stuff that I've treated on my website. Now, with me, because I do carry malpractice insurance just like any other mental health provider, which a lot of hypnotherapists won't take that malpractice. I do take it because I take myself very seriously as a hypnotherapist. But in the rules, some things state that I need to go get a medical referral for, and I'm quite happy at doing that. I've helped relieve some people's irritable bowel syndrome. They told their doctor this is what they were planning. The doctor laughed at it, said, sure, you want to go try the hypnotist, go right ahead. The hypnotist, within like 4 sessions, the person is no longer having nearly as bad of symptoms. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just one thing.
Does hypnotherapy attack like a root cause, or all our afflictions, whether it's physical or mental or anxiety based? Does it all come back to some type of traumatic incident that we may or may not even be aware of?
I've never seen that. I mean, there are certainly situations where it is, but everything is very different. Every time I do a script on somebody, it's customized to them. People who come to me for weight loss, there could be 10,000 reasons why you have a weight issue, and very rarely have I ever seen it come back to a trauma. I mean, once in a while, but and the trauma, I am certified in trauma recovery. If it's too much of a trauma, I have to refer out to psychology to get a thing back, so I can continue to work with them.
I know I myself, have issues with weight. For me, I think it comes back to stress. I'm a stress eater. It's a comfort food thing for me. And you mentioned at the top of the segment that you treat a lot with the stress. So stress, probably treating that can probably help you in a lot of different areas, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you come to my office and I literally have no idea what you're coming in for, or you surprise me on something, stress alone is such a big factor that can affect so many things, that I go and I will start assuming that stress is one of the issues. This, of course, will give me time to research any other issue that you might have that I might not be as familiar with. Mm-hmm. But I will always, the first time you walk into this office or come on Skype or whatnot, we're going to have a discussion on stress. And I'm going to teach you, some relaxation exercises, and we're going to see if we can, that alone has helped reduce some of the smoking people. It's reduced some of the weight loss, the weight issue. That alone tends to do it, because if you're no longer stress eating or stress smoking or stress whatever you're doing, because there's no stress, that alone is going to knock stuff down. That isn't, of course, the thing for everybody, but it can help make things better for a lot of people. But it's not necessarily just specifically stress. That's just one thing that is a common issue.
No, I just know when you treat stress, you can treat a whole lot of other things that kind of come along with stress, from obesity, high blood pressure, all these different physical ailments that all result because of this go society that we live in. I always joke that I'm gonna go down to Puerto Rico and live here eventually. I spent some time down there, and if anybody's ever been to the islands, completely different environment down there, much less stressful. Fast food is 30 minutes. There's no such thing as stress down there. I kind of got addicted to that environment down there.
Here's your stress fact of the day, something I just learned a few days ago. In January 2017, 80% of people showed at least one sign of chronic stress. Mm-hmm. That was from I think the APA or something.
No, I don't doubt it. It's just it's a part of our society, and it's just this desire for on-demand information. We want it, and we want it now. And so, whatever service you're in, you feel that stress from our culture. You know, there's benefits, but I think ultimately it's a disadvantage to us as a culture. We need to be more accepting and more patient with people, because all we're doing is inflicting stress on one another. I got a couple minutes real quick. I just want to close. You offer, you're based in Georgia, but you also do your treatments through Skype, through online. Online just as effective. It doesn't matter if you're in the office with you.
It doesn't particularly matter. Provided I have a webcam on you for certain things. Some things I can do by phone, but I like seeing you, just in case something does come up. I want to be able to react as fast as I would be able to do in the office. So it is just as effective. Actually, if you do me on virtual, I'm slightly cheaper.
Right.
I charge to put on pants is effectively what I do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can always go to my website, and if somebody is actually interested and they don't want to commit to an appointment, I'm doing a 30-minute free consult if anybody from your show wants to talk and see if hypnotherapy might be right for you.
All right. Well, we'll put that up on the show notes and out in the promotions as well. So we thank you for that offer for our listeners there, a 30-minute hypnotherapy session with Melvin Marsh. So we got to wrap it up. Melvin, great discussion. Thank you so much for being on the program with me today.
Well, thank you very much as well.
And again, you can learn more at afterhourshypnotherapy.com, afterhourshypnotherapy.com. Catch new episodes of this program each weekday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, thatbusinessnetwork.com, and find us on iTunes, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps the show grow. So you've been listening to That Business Show 2.0 with your host, Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.